Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another live stream. We have got a lot to talk about today. But first, how's my volume? And second, I'm going to need all of you guys to pay your bar tabs. Although, you know what's funny is I'm not in the bar today, which is unfortunate. In fact, we're going to go there right now because I forgot to put the background in place. So you're going to see me switch backgrounds in real time here. Okay? Give me 1 second. Bam. There we go. We're now in the bar. Okay. I forgot it was a live stream. So, what we're going to do from here on out is actually make sure that my volume is working before I continue to talk here. But we're going to make sure... Okay. I think we're good. Everybody who comes in and hangs out, whether it's for 2 seconds or whether it's for the whole entire stream, you got to pay your bar tabs, okay? We're in the bar. It's happy hour. Let me know what you're drinking and let me know how you're feeling. But paying your bar tab is just hitting that like button and hitting that subscribe button if you have not already. Because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I make these roughly 1 hour videos every Friday. Although we did miss last Friday, it's good to be back. I apologize to everybody. It was 4th of July, had to spend time with the family, but I actually lose subscribers every time I make one of these live stream videos. For whatever reason, I don't know. Maybe people hate me. Maybe I'm not good at this. Maybe the algorithm on YouTube hates it. I don't know what the issue is. But I get less likes, I get less views, and I actually lose subscribers. The regular videos that I do during the week, pre-recorded, do very well. Live streams, not so much yet. Maybe that changes. So, I would love it if everybody could hit the like button and hit the subscribe button before you leave the bar today, okay? On that note, once we get to 10,000 subscribers, this is going to benefit one of you guys heavily, okay? So, share the video as well. Get it out to more people. First of all, more people learn about Caspa. Secondly, when I get to 10,000 subscribers, or when we get to 10,000 subscribers, I'm going to give away 10,000 Caspa, which I think at the time right now it's worth like $900. That's a good amount of money. And at some point it's going to be worth a lot more than that. And it's going to be free to one of you guys, okay? And you're going to have a 1 in 10... Actually, it probably won't be a 1 in 10,000 chance of winning it because I guarantee you not all 10,000 people are going to enter the contest. You're probably going to have like a 50 to 100 people to compete with for 10,000 Caspa. So hit the subscribe button and let's get that number up to 10,000 so I can give away Caspa to you guys, okay? And I'm only doing that because I love every single one of you for hanging out. Okay? How about Bitcoin, by the way? Were you guys watching that yesterday? It was like God candle. I think it was like $4,000 or $6,000 in one day. Absolutely crazy to watch. And actually, it was kind of nice because we haven't seen that type of price action in a while. And at some point, we're going to start seeing that with altcoins. This time around, too, it seems like altcoins are up more than they have been with recent Bitcoin pumps. So that might be a sign that we are potentially turning a corner. I don't know yet. I would still be cautious, although it's pretty much crunch time. I would imagine by, end of Q4, we've hit the top of the market. I guess there's a chance we go into early next year based on when quantitative tightening is supposed to stop and easing is supposed to start. Maybe we get an extended bull run. We're going to have to follow and update that as we go, though, because we don't know yet exactly what's going to happen. Unfortunately, I am not privy to that information. I don't know anybody in high enough regard that would give me that type of information. Otherwise, I would already be loaded and living in a mansion and driving 17 Lambos. Yeah, altcoins are all up double digits. I mean, even just over the last 7 days. Let me pull this up. And mostly, some of these, and let me preface it here. It is good to see, right? I know we all, or at least some of us, don't really like the coins like XRP and Ethereum and Solana. I love Solana, but some people don't. Dogecoin is a fan favorite. Cardano is another one some people don't like, right? They're boring. They don't move, and their market cap's already so big that you wonder how much or how many X's they can actually do, right, during the cycle when their market caps are already massive. But even those coins right now are up over the last 7 days, 20 to 30%, which is a good sign because a lot of the time big caps will run first, and then it'll move into medium, then it'll move into lower caps. So I'm not definitively saying that this is the start of alt season, although at some point it's going to start. And, we're not going to know right off the bat probably. We're going to look back in retrospect and be like, that was when it started, based on charts after the fact. So it could easily be right now. I wonder, too, I think we're going to probably... There's a chance, let's say, that there is some headwinds and some turbulence in Q3, which I think we're technically in right now. But that turbulence might not come until after a massive pump. And so, we're sitting at a higher evaluation than we are right now anyways, even if we do get some pullbacks and get some, sideways action and boring action in Q3. So it's not a bad time to make sure that you are in the market, right? Because I'm speaking from previous cycles. The market doesn't wait for you, and it will take off, and it will take off very fast, and you will get left behind if you're not in the market. So make sure you have a stake in what you are wanting to hold for this cycle. As far as Caspa goes, though, because that's why everyone's here, that's why I'm here, that is my favorite project this cycle. And for those of you who don't know, Solana was my favorite project last cycle. I loved Solana, and I still do. It has a little soft spot in my heart just because, it was my past love. We broke up technically. Kaspa's the new one, but, there's always going to be something there for Solana. Kaspa's up 13% over the last 7 days. Back up, I think we went over 9 cents today or yesterday. So And everything, we're going to have little pullbacks here and there. The exciting part, though, is for any of you guys who haven't experienced anything, you get like these massive pumps, and then you get a little pullback, and it's almost like you want to cry because you're just so into this upward movement, but then it stops and then it just starts going up again, like super crazy. And that's what we're waiting for. And it does that day after day. And we'll do multiple X's in a very short amount of time. So that's what we're waiting for. We might not be there right now, but Taurus, welcome in. Man from Bogota. I know it's one of those two, but I'm probably saying it wrong. Uncle Tony, Kill Quincy, Crypto Marcoco, TP Hand, welcome back. Kill Quincy, King O Kings, welcome back. Thank you, everybody. Michael Kahn, welcome in. Taurus, by the way, wants to know what the prize is for being the first to comment on today's stream. And I think he will be delighted to know that his prize is a thank you for being here and an appreciation and a shout out from yours truly. Probably not what he wanted to hear, to be honest. And there he is. Any prize for First Man Online. There's your prize. Speaking of prizes, though, remember, hit the subscribe button. Let's get to 10,000, and so I can give away 10,000 Caspas. 10,000. Do you know anybody else in the influencer world or on YouTube that is nice enough to give away 10,000 Caspa of their own? I don't think there's anybody out there that I've seen. So, let's look at this. We have from the most recent Fed minutes. We're going to go over this real quick because this is getting old talking about this every single time. But it says most Fed officials expect a 2025 rate cut despite tariff inflation concerns, the minute shows. And Jerome Powell mentioned in these minutes that the only reason that he has not potentially cut rates yet is because of the tariff scares and all of the basically trade wars that are going on right now. And I would imagine that Donald Trump wants rates cut. Well, I know he wants rates cut because he has been very vocal about that. And if Jerome Powell's saying you're not getting your rate cuts until the tariff concerns are out of the way, then I would expect Donald Trump to kind of tailor that down, right? And not make a big deal about it anymore and kind of get those deals worked out. And so the Fed has no real reason, right, as long as inflation stays low and that they can't cut rates, basically. And so that's what I would imagine moving forward. The fact of the 2025 rate cut, the odds are still in massive favor that we're going to get that rate cut in September, unless something breaks in between then and now, okay? Which actually might be a good thing for markets if we did get something that broke. The other thing here is, remember this chart. Not that chart, this chart. Oh, man, it flipped on me. Not that chart. Where is the chart that I'm looking for? Why is that both the same thing? Okay, hold on a second. This one right here. We are expecting potentially altcoins, right, That's where they bottom every cycle to hit this trend line right here. Now, we didn't make it there, so there is a chance that this little green candle right here, can you guys see that? Let me blow this up for you. This little green candle right there is just a relief rally, and this continues to go down in quarter three. That's a possibility. So as excited as we are right now, we have to stay cautious that we could get some more altcoins bleeding to their Bitcoin pair. But that can happen while Bitcoin is going up and altcoins are going up as well. So that doesn't mean that we have to just completely tank and dump. Bitcoin can just outpace the altcoin market on the way up, and this will continue to go down as that happens. Or the other way is Bitcoin obviously takes a dump and a correction from where it's at right now, and altcoins take a harder dump. That's another way. Either way, there's a chance that we still go down to this trend line, so just keep that in the back of your mind that Q3, that's why I'm thinking Q3 is a possibility that we have some turbulence. And that doesn't mean anything compared to the USD value of any of these coins. That just means on their Bitcoin pairs, they're going to keep going down until they hit this trend line or get close. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. But we did have the altcoins here. They kind of broke resistance to an extent here. And there was a ton of resistance in these areas here, and we have actually gone up above it. The $921 billion of market cap. Okay, and this is the total crypto market, excluding BTC and ETH. Right, so we're looking at just altcoins. They have market cap wise kind of pushed through some resistance, and this line right here was resistance all the way back into 2021, where we were going parabolic in the altcoin season. So we've busted through that level of resistance, and we had a little bit of resistance here from actually last year that we have barely broken through as well. So there's a chance that maybe we are in theory about to break out as far as altcoins go, but I don't know. All right, this is all speculation at this point in time. Next, though, this is interesting because if you take a look at the address distribution and wallets that have been created, over the last hour, 24 hours, 7 days, 30 days, and 90 days, there is a lot of green in here. And I haven't seen this much green and positive wallet additions and creations in the Caspa space in a while. And I know we just went through a year and a half of pretty brutal price action. So it isn't surprising that there wasn't people, a bunch of retail coming in and jumping at the chance to open up a Caspa wallet and buy some Caspa. But when the price starts pumping a little bit, everybody gets FOMO and they want to jump in and buy some Caspa. And I think that's probably what's happening. Although some of this is over the last 30 and 90 days. And I want to talk about why that might be. And I have an interesting theory that may or may not be true. But as far as what we're seeing on X and Reddit as of right now, crypto Reddit and crypto X, or crypto Twitter as it used to be called, is there's a lot of Bitcoin maxis that seem to be researching Caspa, right? And getting curious about Caspa. There's a couple of guys that are like in the mainstream, right? We went over one of those guys, I think, in my last video, where the vibe shift in the Caspa community video. Go back and check that out for more specifics. But Block Vibes actually tagged me in this earlier today, and it's interesting because this is actually a Bitcoin forum, bitcointalk.org. Let me shrink that so you guys can actually see, or just move it over, I guess. I'm not going to read all of this because it's long, obviously, but I'm going to read this first paragraph because it kind of says a lot about what people didn't know, and now seems like, you know, what we knew all along, but now there's some Bitcoin maxis. This is literally a Bitcoin forum that people talk solely about Bitcoin. And it says, "Hi all, I'm a researcher at Hebrew University in Israel." Oh, maybe this is actually... Sorry, this might have been... Okay, so this is in the past. I'm sorry. This is actually written in 2013. "Hi, I'm a researcher at Hebrew University in Israel, and I've been working with a student, Yonatan Sampolinsky, on a Bitcoin-related paper. We have really exciting results that we are eager to share with you, the Bitcoin community. We would really like to get constructive feedback on our work from the many smart people in the community," which is why I'm posting here. So they're basically going over what they think about Bitcoin and why it's not going to be able to scale, I believe, is what this consists of. But this was back in 2013. And if we come back over here, and this guy, sorry guys for the double post, but WTF Caspa. I did a few minutes of curious digging just to see what the F it is, and apparently it has been around since 2011 to 2012. That's right, around the time that S-Coins, Litecoin, and XRP were launched. And it gets crazier. Apparently the founder of Caspa were early Bitcoin OGs who researched ways to scale the protocol. Like, I'm talking 2013. I'm in the Bitcoin class of 2022. So I feel like if they were around in 2013 posting on bitcointalk.org, maybe it's worth looking into. My mind is absolutely blown right now because I thought it was a fly-by-night, pre-mined S-Coin, but apparently in 2013 they proposed this thing called the Ghost Rule, greedy, heaviest observed subtree, instead of Bitcoin's longest chain rule, and it would have helped Bitcoin move faster block times if implemented, but the community wasn't willing to implement it. So as the years went by, the founder was presenting his updated ideas at Scaling Bitcoin conference in Hong Kong in 2015. And apparently, Adam US, I'm not sure who that is, so forgive me, was in the audience taking notes. So from what I can tell, the timeline of research papers that were peer-reviewed by the community goes like this. And I'm not going to read that because it gets confusing. But basically, in a nutshell here, I'm so confused. Can somebody please fact check me on all this information? In this whole line of work, which led to Caspa, is for proof of work. I don't know what to think anymore about Caspa. Oh, and here's the link to the Bitcoin. I'll link this down there if you guys want to read that. I know I'm kind of butchering this reading. I'm not good at reading out loud, but in short, what he's saying is that he didn't realize that Yonatan Sampolinsky and Aviv Zohar back in 2013 presented this technology to the Bitcoin community, and they kicked it to the curb, because what that would have done is made Bitcoin move faster, solve blocks faster, and be able to scale. And they all said nope. And so what happened in, sometime, but I would guess roughly around 2013, Aviv and Yonatan set off on their own to create Caspa, which essentially follows the Nakamoto consensus, right? And everything that Bitcoin followed, minus a slightly higher max supply, right? It was no pre-mine, 100% fair launched, everything, but it uses that consensus protocol that they preached, right? And tried to market to the Bitcoin community back in 2013, and they rejected it. And now, what came out of that is Caspa. And it took them from 2013, roughly, to 2022 for it to actually launch. That's how long they had been working on Caspa before they even launched the protocol. Okay? So that gives you a small history on how Caspa was created, and I think it's extremely interesting, and that's why I keep telling everybody, Yonatan Sampolinsky is the reason that this project is going to make it. He knows what he's doing. He's been around. He's worked on protocols, security protocols for Bitcoin, right? And tried to get the Bitcoin community to scale Bitcoin better back in 2013, and they said no. He understands the scenario. He understands what he's doing. He's highly respected in the space, and this basically is his version of what the Bitcoin community rejected, and he has now brought it into the space. And it can scale, it solves a trilemma. Like, I don't understand it. Anybody who knows this background and still says it's a shitcoin and it's not worth anything, I have no answer for them. Right? It's literally the same guys creating a faster project with the exact same, basically, fundamentals. It boggles my mind how anybody can understand the history of Caspa and where it started, when it started, who was behind it, and still say it's not worth nothing. It's a fly-by-night S-coin like this guy thought. Okay? So I guess my reasoning for that was you're seeing on X, you're seeing on Reddit, you're seeing on social media platforms that Bitcoin maxis are starting to do their research and starting to come around. Some of them will not, right? Some of them are going to be stuck in their ways, and that is fine. Not everybody is going to come around, but if we can get a percentage of the Bitcoin community to embrace Caspa as, what we would consider Bitcoin 2.0 in a way, right? It's just, this is the peer-to-peer money transfer back and forth, whereas Bitcoin is the store of value, and, the Bitcoin community and the Caspa community can come together and work as one. Think about what that does for Caspa in the future. That gives it massive amounts of credibility. Like massive amounts of credibility. And I cannot stress that enough. And so, as far as long term, this is the project. This is the one that, if anything is going to come close to the value of what Bitcoin has done over the last, 15 years or so, then I think Caspa is going to be that other project. And you might have a few proof of stake projects worked in there because some people are always going to like those. But as far as pure hard money, Caspa is the other one. And I think we just have to be patient because literally this is its first cycle. Okay? It's going to take some time to get that market effect like Bitcoin has because it's been around way longer. And maybe it never gets the full market effect like Bitcoin does, but it's going to garner some attention, and it already has started, and it's only in its first cycle. So we are extremely lucky, in my opinion, to be involved and to know about this project as early as we are, okay? That's just what I think, so let me know what you guys think. I know that was kind of long-winded, so I'm sorry. Let's answer some questions. Ready for the Lambos. Yeah. The green candles get you excited for the Lambos. I don't think we're quite there yet. But like I said, it's getting close to crunch time. In a lot of years, the third quarter of the year is pretty boring and, like I said before, turbulence. But I wonder if this year is going to be different because it's a post-halving year. And quarter one is usually good, and we had an awful quarter one. So I wonder if those two just kind of flipped places, swapped out. And maybe Q3 ends up being really good into Q4, and that's it. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. Because remember back in 2017 also, rates were being hiked in 2017, and we still had a parabolic alt season. So there is precedent out there that it has happened before. And I can't guarantee that it can happen again, but we've seen it happen before. So who knows? Who knows? It'll be fun, though. The rest of this year should be fun. At least Q4 should be fun, I think. And maybe into Q1 of next year. Who knows? LFG, the trilemma solver has been held back for too long. Absolutely. It has been. A year and a half is a long time. It might even be longer than that. I'm just roughly guessing how long it's been held down. But it seems like it's been a long time. What's up, Quincy? Thanks for hanging out, man. Yeah, maxis on the price manipulation. I did see, what's funny is, I'm not going to speculate whether it's maxis or not. The whole market, or all the altcoins seem to be sliding as we speak. And of course that happens. That seems to happen literally every time I go live on Friday night. I think it's just the time of it's right before the weekend, and the weekends usually aren't very good in crypto until Monday. But it is funny that we've had crazy price action all day yesterday, and then I come on today and we're in the red again. At least for the 24 hours, we're in the red. Because over the last 7 days, like I said, we're up 15% or something like that. 13%. 8.5 cents. Quincy's drinking tea that his wife made him. Wow. Much respect to the wife. I'm actually drinking tea as well, but it's out of a can. So it is green tea, and it's barely got anything added to it. So lemon basil smasher. Miller Lite tall boy today. And just so you guys all know, man from Bogota is bullish. I think we all are right now. Don Carlos, Cat Daddy, greetings from Madrid. All the way from Madrid, Spain, right? I'm going to feel like an idiot if I was wrong right there. Welcome in, though. Thank you for tuning in. What time is it over there? It's probably a lot different. Probably middle of the night or morning, maybe. Hello from PNW. TP, you did say you lived on a tropical island, I think you said, didn't you, at one point? Out in the Philippines? Or somewhere around there? Michael Kahn, what's up? Yeah, rate cuts are going to be good. And it may not... The big thing is quantitative tightening being ended, like, completely. But rate cuts are going to relieve some tension for sure. And the quicker they cut the rates, the better. For us, anyway. Canadoy Wilson, greetings from the Philippines. Man, you guys are coming from all over the place today. Do you know TP Hand? Are you guys friends? Good question. How would you DCA out of your Caspa? Swap for stables or transfer to an exchange and sell? So, my planned scenario, right? Anything can change, but this, to me, is the most efficient way of doing things. I hold majority of my crypto on multiple different Tangent wallets. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap in my Tangent wallet when I feel like taking profits and selling. It might not all be at one time because I might, DCA out of the market when things start getting heated. But I'm gonna transfer to stablecoins in my Tangent wallet, and then when I do want to actually turn that into fiat money, so that I can go buy something, unless Tangent Pay is out at that point in time, and maybe I can just spend money straight from that wallet. But my plan right now is to transfer the amount of money onto an exchange that I want to use and then into my bank account from there. You know, whether it be Crypto.com, Coinbase, Kraken. I'd highly suggest supporting Kraken over the other ones at this point in time because they actually listed Caspa, whereas nobody else has. So that would be, it would be good to support them over Crypto.com and Coinbase at this point in time, or Binance, depending on where you live. But it seems like Binance is probably going to list soon, so maybe they're not too bad yet. And, Coinbase obviously is listed Caspa futures, which in theory should, turn into a spot listing at some point, I would imagine. I don't get it. If Caspa follows Bitcoin, then why are we not just Bitcoin maxis? It doesn't really follow Bitcoin yet. Caspa's market cap is so much lower that you're going to get outsized returns from Caspa. Bitcoin's returns are not going to be as big, especially at the prices we're at right now. I would imagine that we're going to top out around 150K this cycle, and we're already sitting at 117. So you're putting money into Bitcoin right now, you're going to get like a small percentage return for the rest of the cycle, in theory, whereas Caspa can probably 10x. So, maybe it can do more too. I don't know. We're going to have to see what kind of altcoin season we get. As Caspa matures and its market cap grows and it holds its own and makes it through more than one cycle, I think that based on its fundamentals and being so close to Bitcoin, maybe it can start acting a little bit more like Bitcoin later on. But right now, it's still going to act like an altcoin for the most part because it's got a small market cap. And so you're going to get, in theory, more gains and more X's out of it. You can just hold Bitcoin if you want, but the time to buy Bitcoin was middle of 2022 when it was $15,000. Not at 117,000, where its dominance is almost probably peaking out, and it runs first. Remember, it'll run a little bit more, but it runs first, and altcoins run after typically. So right now is not the best time to buy Bitcoin unless you're just literally DCAing like MicroStrategy, who has billions of dollars, and you're just holding. You're not planning on selling for profit, then, 10 years from now, buying at 117K might seem like a good idea. But right now, if you're planning on selling some profits, you're not going to make much on Bitcoin this cycle, buying right now. Unless I'm completely wrong, and it's only a Bitcoin cycle and it goes to 1 million this cycle, then you'd make money. But I would... Pretty sure that's not going to happen. Let's just put it that way. It'll go to 1 million one day, I think. Not this cycle. VJ. Nate. VJ Kalish just rotated. Butchering everything. I can't even read today. Just rotated some BTS. I'm assuming you meant BTC into CAS. One of us. Yeah, I did see that. And what's funny is, I think yesterday or the day before, he actually said that he was never going to rotate Bitcoin into Caspa. He was going to get more capital and then buy some more Caspa. And I think he was going to buy some Caspa with rental property that he sold. But he's actually fun to follow on X, by the way, guys. He posts a lot, and he's intriguing because he loves Bitcoin, and he's just turned in to slowly liking Caspa. Actually, it wasn't slow; it was pretty fast. It was kind of overnight, but I like to see his posts on X. And he's even interacted with me on some of my posts, which is cool. I don't really know who he is though, what his status is in real life. If anybody knows, let me know. I just heard of his name because he's one of those maxis that is starting to come around and understand that Caspa might be the next big thing. Which is cool because, when a Bitcoin maxi, who has credibility with other Bitcoin maxis, decides to venture out into Caspa because of how similar it is to Bitcoin, it's naturally going to make other maxis curious, right? Not all of them, but some of them. And I think at some point it's going to be a waterfall effect or a domino effect, as you will. And we'll see. But I think by the end of this cycle, I think we're going to have more believers than we do right now. And if it survives the bear market, which I fully expect it to, and makes, new highs next cycle, it's just going to keep, domino affecting into more and more and more users, especially if, smart contracts come out and, some pretty cool apps, or dApps, I should say, are created on top of Caspa. If stable coins, build some steam because people realize how cheap it is to transact stable coins and how secure it is over the Caspa network. And then if, the devs, Michael Sutton and Jonathan and the other couple lead devs actually come through on their promises of getting to 35 blocks a second and then, potentially 100 blocks a second, this thing's going to be lightning fast. Where it's going to be insane how fast things are going to go on this chain. And that is, being a proof of work and, being able to settle, I think at that point, I don't know how many transactions per second are going to be, it's going to be capable of settling at that point, but it's going to be like double-digit thousands or more, probably 100,000 transactions a second, which literally murders every single mainstream like credit card company or anything like that. And it will literally murder anything in the crypto space at that point in time too. So, I can't imagine people won't open their eyes at some point. It's just going to take some time. Just like everything else does. Bitcoin, everyone was skeptical at first, right? It wasn't overnight where Bitcoin became, this asset that all of these big financial, companies and systems are investing into. You got to think, the Caspa is literally Bitcoin in 2010 when it was launched. 2010, 2011 was its first cycle, and this is Caspa's first cycle, so we got to let it mature. We got to let it play out, and I think all of us who were investing early are going to be very fortunate at some point. Solana, they say $400 this cycle, but $2 only for Caspa. How? Who's they? There's so many predictions thrown around. I have no idea who they is, Steven or Stefan. I've seen predictions thrown out for Solana upwards of $1,000 and $1,200 too. So, I don't know what the market cap equals out for that. But I'm still staying pat on my prediction of $1 to $3 this cycle on Caspa, and I will be very happy if it goes higher than that. Riley, are you still mining? I'm not mining too much. I didn't set up a node, and I didn't give away. I sold all of my GPUs because it's not profitable anymore. I did mine a bunch of Caspa on my GPUs before all the ASICs came out. When Ethereum went proof of stake, Caspa is the one that I found and started mining, so I got lucky there, very, very early mining. But right now, I don't have any ASICs except for one of the original shipments of the KS0s, and it's still plugging along, actually right underneath of me, the desk that I'm sitting at. And I barely make any money off of that thing now. I think it's like 5 or 10 Caspa per month almost now, where it used to be like 5,000 a day when it first came out. But the network's gotten oversaturated, which is a good thing because more security, like they're, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of mining right now, but and the fact that people are interested in Caspa and mining Caspa is a good thing. But right now, the profit and the gains from that thing have gone way down. But, maybe in the future, 5 Caspa is worth a lot of money. Who knows? And I'm getting that, every 2 weeks to a month. And I'm just going to let it keep going because those KS zeros, they literally take 0 electricity pretty much. It's like a light bulb. And so it's just going to run for years until it dies at one point maybe. And, whatever I mine, I mine. I don't think I'm going to buy any more miners because I want to see what happens with the emission schedule, because I see 2 scenarios happening where, when all the coins are mined, and that's happening pretty fast. I think it's already like 94% mined or something like that. Then a lot of people are going to, probably think that the miners are going to be useless. And if you're spending thousands of dollars on a miner right now, how worth it is it if your miner is going to be useless in the future? But if there's enough activity on the chain, then the fees should pay the miners enough money, right? And this is assuming the price of Caspa goes up as well. So those fees should pay the miners enough money to keep the network secure and keep mining, is the hope. But I kind of want to see how that goes in the transition period of, not that many coins to be mined in a very short amount of time. And me spending $1,000 on a miner, thousands of dollars right now, I'd rather just buy the coins, personally, at this point. Maybe I'll revisit that at some point in the bear market. But right now, for me, it's worth more just to buy the coins than to, buy the miners. And then how long is it going to take for you to recoup your money? That type of stuff. So that's just my opinion. Nate says, dude, that's a cup and handle. Yeah, you're probably right. I'm not a TA guy. I just saw resistance and it went above. Are you talking about the whole entire market? I am going to be learning TA this next bear market though, so I'll be more informed on that. At least how to read charts like that in detail next cycle. But is this the chart you were talking about? That's a cup and handle? I guess maybe that's the cup. Maybe that's the... Whoops. Let me blow this up. That's the cup. And that's the handle, maybe? I could see it. Maybe. Okay. Since we're on the internet here, look at this, guys. Top addresses. Why is this all messed up? Why? Why? Oh, that's why, because I'm on page 2. So, yeah, Mexi did sell a lot. Maybe TP's right. Almost $4 million, 4 million CAS, which is 325,000. That shouldn't move the market that much, though. Although they may have multiple wallets in here that we don't even know about. Bybit. Added 320,000. But you've got some interesting wallets here, like on page 2, that are accumulating. I'm wondering if one of these might be an exchange. In the last 24 hours, wallet number 11, bought 726,000 Caspa. Wallet 14 bought almost 2 million Caspa. And 19 bought 4.5 million Caspa. So I wonder, you know what I think too is some of these might actually be some of those Bitcoin maxis that have a ton of Bitcoin and they're diversifying a little bit. Who knows? We're speculating here. But big wallets are still accumulating, although the biggest ones, besides number 6, which is Bybit, have not accumulated. There's some big, like even down here, wallet 266, 281, over 1 million CAS, over 2 million, over 4 million Caspa. So they're all accumulating. Interesting to look at. I wonder how many of those are these recent potential Bitcoin maxis that are slowly starting to come around. Something to think about. All right, guys, it's been an hour. I got to go eat some dinner. I appreciate all of you guys for hanging out and joining. Make sure on your way out to pay your bar tabs, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and remember, when I get to 10,000, when we get to 10,000 subscribers, I'm giving away 10,000 Caspa. At the time that we speak right now, it's worth $900. That is a pretty big chunk of money to give away. Okay? By the time we reach 10,000, if it's even this cycle, it's probably going to be worth more than that. Right? And you're going to have a chance to win it. So, on your way out, make sure you pay those bar tabs, and I will see you guys in the next video. Love you all. Continue to pack your damn bags before it's too late. Peace out.